Hello, and thank you for viewing this very informing and inspirational video. Please feel free to visit our profile at the end of the video. This is Dr. Anthony Hodge, presiding religion. Dr. Anthony Hodge, first off, what does GOD stand for?
Well, GOD started out as we founded the Earth Temple in 1992 officially. We began our mission, however, in 1990 when I came back from Peru after witnessing many things. GOD stands for Getting Off Drugs. Now, there's a separation of church and state, so that when you go to get public money, you can't say God, but you can say G-O-D. I want everyone to remember that. Okay? And Operation GOD, after we wrote our book on drugs and we saved thousands of people with our knowledge and our public access television shows, we decided to take it to a higher level and affect those that are infected not just by the drugs and the addictions, but by those that are infected by environmental issues. Okay? What we believe is that mankind should collectively have armies to go around the world, not showing how bad we are, but letting folks know how good we have been and can be. There's a greater power in doing good than there is in doing bad. And what Operation Getting Over Disaster stands for, not just a name, but the meaning behind it. Drugs is just one of many disasters. Environmental disasters, being an environmental organization, I feel this with the proper tools we could do. When New Orleans was affected by Katrina, and all government leaders, all religious leaders, sat back and watched it treated like a prison riot. Cut the water off, no food. Okay? You can't tell me that you couldn't get away there. New Orleans was built by sea travel. All that water, you could take food anywhere. I was traumatized because we didn't have the budget to do anything at that time. But that happens again, something like that. We will try our best to be there, to pull people out of houses ourselves with Earth Temple boats and letting people know that GOD, Getting Over Disaster, has its help.
On the basis of religion, what is your theology?
My theology is monotheistic, believing in one God, but however it's poly-denominational. Earth Temple, we've had connections with those high-ranking Catholic priests, Muslims. We have had worked with bishops in many church organizations and rabbis. We believe that collectively all religions can stop being self-centered and be more community-centered and God-centered. By God, do we need to work together?
Working together instead of saying that my God is better than your God.
Exactly. Working together, it's all one God. If you're looking at two supreme deities, then who brought them here?
So in the same sense, is there conflicts with other churches?
Well, not really, except for those churches that do not want me to preach there because I don't faith heal. I don't rip people off. I don't pimp the poor or anyone. But most of these churches are operating on this 10% tithing system. Although Scripture speaks for that, I'm not down with the 10% tithing. You have to be about your Father's business, and that comes in Scripture. And what we have to do is to be about business. When we have a congregation, people dressing up in clean clothes, whatever day they're coming to church on, in each chair you're looking at $10 in dry cleaning. Every church should have a dry cleaners. Every church has people in it that need work, need employment. So when a deacon or some member of the church wants to get their house painted, you come to Earth Temple first. We will paint your house cheaper than anybody else, make you look better in your church, and whatever else you need, come to the temple for these answers. The temple and the churches used to be the center of the community. Before the time of Martin Luther and his enlightenment, hundreds of years ago, the church was everything, but it lost its place at the same time when Copernicus and other folks found out that this was not the center of the universe. At that point, the church lost its center in the community. And this is what we need to come back to with reverence to the plan to save this very planet and ourselves and our souls.
Do you believe you were chosen by God?
Well, I have no choice but to believe I was chosen by God. I wasn't called to ministry, no. I was drafted. I was drafted by being a victim of things, very unholy things, but because of the word theodicy, run to your dictionary or your computer, it means that anything that happens is not evil because of the omnipotence of God, that there had to be a good reason for it.
If so, why were you chosen by God?
Well, I'm still trying to figure that out, but probably being a descendant of famous people and having 168 IQ, I was tested in the 2nd grade here in the Columbus public school system. Folks couldn't believe that a child non-white had such an IQ, and I was forced to come down the next day, and my mother, who had an education, bachelor's degree from Rio Grande in education, protested. But they said, we have to test him again, you have to bring him down here the 2nd day in a row. She wanted me to rest. So the first time I had 148. The next day, I finished a half hour early in that little basement room down at the school board, and I finished with a 168. So, you know, these things, this is why God probably chose me. I've been a victim of disasters. I was picked up in the air by the Xenia tornado in Central State when I was getting my bachelor's degree. I came out at 19 with 5 years of credits. That tornado blew me out. Okay? After that, and God slammed me back down to the ground, it wasn't my time to go. And there's so many times that I've actually seen things defy science to save my life and other people's as well. I saved 2 twins at a local Dr. Whitington swimming pool once. They were drowning in the deep end. No one saw them but me. I was like 12 or 13. I've had other experiences where I've actually been there to save people's life. As a private detective, I've stepped in a whole lot of situations. If God wasn't behind me, I wouldn't be in front of this camera.
Is there any final notes you have for religion?
Yes, I think that we must have reverence for all religions. If somebody worships a tree, that's fine. We need him as an environmentalist. We need for everyone to know that the Earth Temple is here, that a very special man from very proud people came here. Maybe it's being descendant of the Thomas Jefferson story. Maybe it's because my grandfather, Irvin Diggs, with a 3rd grade education, was Ohio's first millionaire. Google Diggs Road in Jackson County, you can see what a man he was. And on the educated side, my father's side, the more African side, was Dr. Lando Aldo Hodge. Very smart man. So this has been passed down to me. I can't do anything but be about our God's business.
Do your best to tell me, on the basis of religion, what Earth Temple has to offer.
Earth Temple has to offer an idea. First of all of us as children, all of our children go to church. They go to school. You've got 2 points in the community. You got the church and you got the school. The preacher is telling our children and grandchildren, in my case, that the teacher's a liar. The preacher is telling the kids the teacher's a liar. You got both ends of the street, the church and the school, creating a line segment between those 2 points. And that line segment is called the street of America today. And that's where kids are running to for the answers. Turn their heads like puppies. Oh, for real? Oh yeah, wearing their pants down to the ground. If he runs away from or toward a police officer, he's doing what? Reaching for what any law enforcement officer and any jury would agree he would thought was a gun. Boy didn't have no gun when we found his dead body. But did he have sagging pants? Yes. When he came toward the police officer, what did he do? Well, he was reaching for something. You know, there it goes. We've got to change this collision course. You got to check yourself because you're on a collision course. And this is what we're here to do, to show these folks that God is here for you, and I'm just one of God's special angels, special agent of God.